Yeah.
Om Sri Krishna Parabrahmane Namaha. Today I want to discuss on the topic Lord Shiva's little Krishna. Different type topic. First prayer. Sarvamangala Mangalye Shive Sarvardha Sadhike Sharanye Triambake Devi Narayani Namostute. When Lord Shiva was meditating in the house of Nanda Maharaj, he found that Lord of all Lords had now appeared in Vraja. So, on the 12th day of Lord Krishna's birth, Lord Shiva decided to go to Gokul to see Lord Krishna. Demonstrating this horrible look, he entered Gokul and went to his mother Yashoda's house and knocked the door. Bhiksham dehi me. Yashoda, who is always generous to visit the beds, said, "Wait outside. I will bring you a gift." Lord Shiva said, No, I do not want gifts. I am here to see your son." After hearing the visitor's request, Mother Yashoda said, "No, you cannot see him. Whatever you want, you can have. I see that you are hungry and need clothing." Lord Shiva replied, No, I have everything. Please allow me only 1 second to see your son, little Krishna. Yashoda, hearing Shiva's plea, said, "Take what I give you and go before your snakes and the scorpions will come here. Please understand that my child is too small and afraid of your clothes, so please go." Shiva said, "I will not go until I see your son." Then the mother Yashoda said, "You can sit here as long as you want, but you cannot see my son." Shiva said, "I can sit here for tens of thousands of years. One day when your son grows up, when you are not in control, I will see him." Then Yashoda said, "Oh Babaji, if you sit here for 10,000 years, I will close this gate for 20,000 years. Do not challenge me. My lovely son is my life." Meanwhile, Krishna, lying on the bed, knew what was going on outside the door. He wanted his 2 devotees to fight over him because he wanted to prove to everyone that devotees who are in the mental state of parental love are greater than those who are in the mental state of servants. Both have useless love for Krishna. But the state of mind of parental love is more closely related than the state of mind of the servants. Therefore, Shiva had to surrender to Mother Yashoda in this conflict. After losing at the hands of Yashoda, Lord Shiva's mother said to Yashoda, "O lady, you will soon call me. Choose your son." Mother said, "You go. I will not call you at any time. You can take what you want, but never ask me to see my baby again." That's the condition Yashoda put towards Shiva. Shiva then departed from Yashoda's house. He reached the banks of the river Yamuna. His best devotee, Shiva, left the unsatisfied house and started crying. And Krishna realized that no one could stop him. Then a wise gopi mother named Lalita came to Yashoda and asked if anyone had left the house. Yashoda said, yes, a mendicant came. I wanted to give him what he wanted, but he only wanted to see my baby. He took nothing and was not satisfied. Lord Shiva placed Krishna on his lap and said, Lord of the universe, Supreme Controller, it is very difficult to know how you will act later. Can't imagine that. The Lord, who could not be seen by meditating for thousands of years, is now acting like a cohort lady child. Only you, as a parent, can know for sure. No one else will. Lord, I pay my respects to you. After saying this, Shiva took the small feet of the Lord and touched his head, chanting the Gopala Sahasranama hymn. 1,000 names of the Lord. That means Gopala Sahasranama was first chanted by Lord Shiva before the little Krishna, touching the little Krishna's feet. Seeing this, Yashoda said, Baba, look at your snake. My baby is very young. On hearing this, Lord Shiva realized the supremacy of his mother, Yashoda Bhakti, and understood why Krishna appeared as his son. If one is true devotee of Krishna, Krishna will undoubtedly manifest to him. While Lord Shiva was in meditation, he discovered that the Lord of all lords has now appeared in Vraja at the house of Nanda Maharaja. So on the 12th day after birth of Lord Krishna, Shiva decided to go to Gokul to see Krishna. Parvati said she would like to go too, but Shiva said it was too far for you to travel. So Parvati said politely, I have heard that the butter from Gokul is very nice. Can you bring some back? Shiva agreed and left for Gokul. So Lord Shiva arrived in Gokul. The Lord was acting as a baby, performing his pastimes in the lap of Mother Yashoda. Knowing that Nanda generously gives charity to please the Brahmanas, Shiva decided to disguise himself as a Brahmana and proceeded to Gokula to see Krishna. But as soon as he touched the dust of Vraja before entering Gokula, he realized that he should not change his form. He thought, the Lord knows who I am. Therefore, I must go in my real form. This is the nature of the dust of Vraja. It brings a perfect realization to the heart of a real devotee. Shiva's natural form has 3 eyes and long unkept matted hair. He wears a tiger skin, a garland of snakes, a belt of scorpions, and has ashes smeared all over his body. The Lord Shiva entered Gokula, proceeded to Yashoda's house, and asked her, Bhiksham Dehi. Mother Yashoda answered the door, but in her deep, ecstatic love for Krishna, did not recognize the visitor as Lord Shiva. That is the trance. Yashoda, always being generous to visiting saints, said, Wait outside, I'll bring you a gift. Lord Shiva did not accept. Oh, he doesn't want any gifts. His gift is only to see her baby, little Krishna only. Upon hearing the visitor's request, Yashoda replied, No, it is not possible for you to see him. Anything else you wish you may have. Even she found he is hungry, therefore need of clothing, etc. So wait please for a moment. I shall bring you some nice prasada and clean cloths. Please take them and leave. Even then also, Shiva fought with Yashoda. No, I want to see only your baby, not these and all. My wife is Annapurna, whom I have left behind to come and see your son. Please allow me to see your son, if only for a second. Hearing Shiva's plea, Yashoda then said, Take what I give you and go before your snakes and scorpions fall here. In various ways, Lord Shiva tried to see his little Krishna, but Yashoda could not allow him at any cost. Even various pleas, various requests, she denied each and everything. But Lord Krishna knows the altercation between these two. He hears clearly the altercation between Shiva and his mother Yashoda. Because both mother and Shiva have lot of love on him. So he cannot deny anyone. Even Shiva said, I will sit here for so many years. Even then, Yashoda could not let her child to give to Shiva, even allowed him to see his baby. Knowing all these things, Lord Krishna in the little form waited for some time. He loves the quarrel between two devotees of Shiva as well as Yashoda. When we see these things, there is no difference between Shiva and Keshava. Both are same. Only the ignorant people see the difference between them. But wise men never find such a difference between those things. Krishna understands both have unallowed love, but the mood of parental love is closer relationship than the mood of servantership. So what happened? Shiva had to yield to Yashoda in this confrontation. Upon being defeated by Yashoda, Shiva thought, "Oh Krishna, you are the Lord of the universe, hiding in the house of this cowherd lady. This is your will. And if your will is not to see me, what can I do?" Thinking in this way, Shiva stated to Yashoda, "Oh, mother, you yourself will soon call me to see your son." Hearing this, Yashoda replied, "No, no, no, I will never call you. You can take whatever else except my son, but do not ask me again to see my child." The same conversation, even second time also. When any time comes, she is replying the same. Then Shiva left Yashoda's house, feeling very morose. He reached the bank of Yamuna river, sat down, and began meditating on how dramatically Krishna acts. Krishna, knowing that Shiva, his best devotee, left the house unsatisfied, began to cry, and no one could stop him. At the time what happened, all the gopas and gopis tried to stop Krishna from crying, but all their attempts were of no avail, futile, waste. He continued crying loudly. Then a clever gopi named Lalita approached Yashoda and asked her if anyone had left the house displeased. Yashoda thought for a moment and said, "Yes, one of the mendicants came with snakes wrapped around his neck and had wanted to see my child. I wanted to give him whatever he desired, but he insisted that he only wished to see my child. He did not take anything and left unsatisfied." Lalita then said, "A sadhu should never leave one's house unsatisfied. Whatever he wanted, he should have been given. This is the curse that is haunting your baby and all of us. Therefore, we must call the sadhu again." See how that Lalita convinced Yashoda by teaching her morals, ethics of treating a guest who come to their house, whomsoever it may be. He may be friend or relative or enemy. Yashoda then described the appearance of the sadhu to Lalita. Lalita then left in search of sadhu, found him, and brought him back to Lord Shiva. As soon as Shiva received Krishna, he immediately stopped crying, opened his eyes, and saw his pure devotee Shiva. Shiva, having taken Krishna atop his lap, was lost in an ocean of transcendental ecstasy. He said, "O Lord of the universe, of Lord of all, Om Supreme Controller, it is very difficult to ascertain how you will act next. It is inconceivable that the Lord, who cannot be seen meditating for thousands of years, is now acting as a child of a cowherd lady. Only you know your desire. No one else does. O Lord, I simply pay my homage unto you." After saying this, Shiva took the Lord's little feet, touched them to his head, and chanted Gopala Sahasranama Stotra, the 1000 names of the Lord. He later repeated these same names to Parvati whenever he returned home, when he returned home. Upon seeing this, Yashoda said, Baba, watch your snakes. My child is very small. Hearing this, Shiva realized the superiority of the devotion of Yashoda and understood why Krishna appeared as her son. If one becomes a real devotee of Krishna, he will undoubtedly manifest to him. Yashoda said, You can't go empty handed, please take some butter. Shiva then remembered that he had to take some butter for Parvati. Why? Because already she asked him to bring the butter which is nice, especially in Gokula, while he was returning from Gokul. So he takes some butter and leaves for Kailasha. On the way Kailasha, Shiva was thinking about Krishna, and lost in that thought, he did not realize that he was eating the butter. And when he reached Kailasha, all the butter was finished. When Shiva reached Kailasa, he told Parvati all about Krishna and how beautiful he is. Parvati said that is fine, but what about the butter I asked for? Shiva, not realizing that butter had finished, gave Parvati the container which had butter. Parvati said, The container is empty. Shiva replied that the container was full, but I had not realized that I had eaten all the butter. Parvati said, Since you did not bring any prasadam for me, no one will eat your prasadam. What is the moral of the story? Please remember and buy what your wife has told you when she sent you to shop. Number 2. Have strong desire to see Krishna as Lord Shiva have. 3rd. Serve sadhus and be careful not to offend them, not to dissatisfy them. 4th. Don't eat Shiva Prasadam. Now traditionally, no one takes Prasadam from Shiva Mandir except sadhus. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Puranas. In Hinduism, we know Lord Krishna as the preserver and Lord Shiva as destroyer. Although having such different cosmic functions, they share an inconceivable relationship. Bhagavatam says, Lord Shiva himself tells his wife Shati about his engagement in worshipping the Supreme Personality known as Lord Vasudeva, Krishna, who is revealed in pure consciousness by offering obeisances. Bhagavad Gita said, Lord Shiva is also a part of Lord Krishna's universal form as described in Bhagavad Gita. Therein we find Arjuna said, My dear Lord Krishna, I see assembled together in your body, in your universal body, all the demigods and various other living entities. I see Brahma sitting on the lotus flower, as well as Lord Shiva and many sages and divine serpents. Lord Krishna in Vrindavan. Lord Shiva had also tried to enter the Rasa Leela dance between Krishna and the gopis. The cowherd damsel. The Mahadeva Gopishwara temple in Vrindavan is said to mark where the Lord Shiva desired to become a gopi in order to enter the dance with Lord Krishna, Lord Shiva's brother-in-law. At the time of Krishna's birth, past time in Vrindavan, Yashoda bore a daughter, Katyayani or Durga, and mother Devaki bore a son, Lord Krishna. To save him from nefarious King Kamsa, Krishna's father Vasudeva brought Krishna from Mathura to Gokul and exchanged him with the daughter of Mother Yashoda, taking the daughter back with him. Shiva meditation. Lord Shiva tells Devi Durga who it is that he meditates on while in trance. O goddess, you have how seen the illusory energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the unborn master of everyone. Although I am one of the principal expansions of his lordship, even I was illusioned by his energy. Let us see the difference between Lord Shiva and Lord Krishna. Lord Shiva is always united with his personal energy, the material nature, manifesting himself in three features in response to the entreaties of nature's three modes. He thus embodies the threefold principle of material, ego in goodness, passion, and ignorance. But Lord Hari, however, has no connection with the material modes. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the all-seeing eternal witness who is transcendental to material nature. This is the difference between Lord Shiva and Krishna. What is material nature? Let us discuss. A worshipper of Lord Shiva gets results that are conditional to the effects of material nature. But while a worshipper of Lord Krishna gets released from the material nature rather than receiving material opulences. According to Brahma Samhita, which is one of the holy divine work, Grantha, when the creation of the universe is manifested, then the principle of Shambhu in the form of Rudra is born from the space between the two eyebrows of Vishnu. Generally, the eyes of Lord Vishnu is said, one is the sun, another is the moon. Chaksho Suryo Jayata. Surya, Chandra, both are the eyes of Lord Vishnu. Shambhu enshrines the principle of materialistic ego. This principle makes the living being identity with the material body subject to the desires for material and bodily happiness. So the power of Lord Shiva comes from the potency of Lord Vishnu. then who is Godhead? Final conclusion. Shiva is not a second Godhead other than Krishna. In fact, those who entertain such a discriminating sentiment commit a great offense to the Supreme Lord. It is Lord Krishna who is described as the Supreme Being and control of both the spiritual and material energies. श्रीकांताय कल्याण निधे निधेन्द्राम श्री वेंकटनिवासाय श्रीनिवासाय मंगलम मंगलाशासन परमदाचार्य पुरोगमैः सर्वैश्च पूर्वैराचार्यै सत्कृतायास्तु मंगलम्.